Okay, good morning, everybody. Monday morning, Freedom Team Agent Attraction training we do every week, and mixing it up a lot. We've been doing this where we're bringing in, some of the top people in eXp just to come in and share some of what they're doing. So we're going to do that here today with Andre. But just a quick reminder, again, if you can turn your cameras on, join us. Okay. We'll kind of leave this open, Andre. I mean, as we'll go through, we'll tell some of your story and kind of what you're doing. But if you guys have questions along the way, you can put them in the chat or raise your hand, and we'll just kind of make this interactive as much as you want to, Andre. It's up to you how you want to handle some of that. But there definitely will be time for you guys to get your questions answered. This little things, and every week I've just been picking up nuggets. There's three or four things that are said that are like, wow, I haven't thought of that, or there's something I can throw out in a phone call or whatever. So it's been really good. We do this every week. Just a reminder, schedule wise, tomorrow, every Tuesday, we have our Get More Transactions Mastermind. So we have that tomorrow. Kathy, what's tomorrow? I forget. What do we have tomorrow? Who's going tomorrow?
Tomorrow's Drew Schrader with Get More from Your Database. I mean, he's a $50 million producer. So
yeah. Drew was the number 2 agent in all of Indianapolis.
Yes.
Now has a team over here. Yeah, so he's big. That'll be good. Wednesday we are doing a special just event on Wednesday morning, 9 a.m., 11 a.m. Eastern, same time, same Zoom link for Done For You Real Estate, just to explain that process, how that can add more income to what you guys are doing. We're going to be doing kind of an online investor event, most likely in September, actually October. We moved it out to October, but getting ready for that. There'll be a lot of stuff on that on Wednesday. And then every Thursday, we do just an open Q&A for Agent Attraction. So bring your questions, anything you want to do with that. That's just open every Thursday. So anyway, Andre Lafountain. Andre and I, we've known each other, more from a distance, really, not really known each other, but we've been, been connected here really for a long, long time. I met Andre at the first Craig Proctor conference I went to back in 2002. And he was big in that program. When did you get started, Andre, in real estate? 1998, is that what I read online?
1998 is when I started coaching with Proctor. I got my license in 1991 when I was 22.
Oh, wow. There you go. Okay. So you've been doing this a long time.
31 years, yeah. 32 years.
There you go. Still alive, still kicking. So very cool. And then, but built a big thing with Proctor. You were coaching over there. How long you been at eXp?
4.5 years.
4.5 years. And in 4.5 years, we were looking at his numbers. So he's got 36 frontline agents that he's personally sponsored into eXp. He's got 27 FLQAs. So right on that edge, Andre. You got 3 more to go, man, to crack open that top,
yeah, I know.
Top tier.
I had 30 at one point a few months back, but we dropped down a little bit. But yeah, we'll get there.
Get to work, man. You're being lazy over there.
Yeah.
Gotta hit that 30. That'll make a huge difference, I'm sure. How many do you have on tier 7?
60 something.
60 something.
65
okay.
Probably. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, at 4,000 a pop, that'll add something there. So, but 1,030 in his organization as of this morning, when we just looked at that. So number 56 in all of eXp, out of whatever 88,000 agents. So congratulations on all that, Andre. I mean, seriously, it's always good to get people on here, and it's just inspiring to know that it can be done. So let's get into a little bit. Why don't you just tell a little bit of your story and just how you got into all this, and kind of let's just talk through some of your day and kind of what you're doing with attraction. So let me just turn it over to you. Why don't you just start sharing some of that? And again, any questions along the way, guys, feel free to put them in the chat or raise your hand and ask them, whatever. We'll just kind of make this interactive. So we appreciate being on here. So
yeah, my pleasure. Happy to get back any way I can. And yes, I'm an open book, so you can ask me any kind of questions. My background real quick, got real estate when I was 22 years old. Worked a pharmaceutical position from 4 in the afternoon to midnight, because being that young, I knew it was going to take a while to get my business going. So I had to get a job. So I worked from 4 in the afternoon until midnight, Monday through Friday, and then sold real estate from 8, 9 in the morning. I get to the office until I clock in at the plant. Did that for 4 or 5 years on that shift, and then went to this. They had a flex shift from Saturdays. Ooh, mercy. sorry about that. Went on the flex shift Saturday, Sunday, and Monday from noon to midnight. So I could work 12-hour shifts at the plant and I could work all day, the rest 4 days a week. Did that for 9 years. And when we went to coaching, Proctor coaching in November 98 and started doing, marketing my business and trying to, learn from the people that are up here compared to where we were down here. It took me 7 years to get to 40 transactions a year by myself with no help. And then when I got coaching, that next year I went from 40 to 79 with just me and a buyer agent, brand new in the business. And then the next year went to 109 with that buyer agent and admin. So and then a few years later, ended up partnering up with my partner, a broker, started a second office, and we were doing about 300 units a year consistently for about a decade. But I share that with you because it was the coaching and training. It took me 7 years to get to 40, and 1 year was someone telling me what to do and how to do it right. From 40 to 79, and then 109 and continued. So definitely get connected to any of the coaching and training, and that's obviously why you guys are here. Then in 2009, the coaching company offered me a position to work with them in their coaching company in Atlanta. My chance to get out of the cold weather and the high taxes in New York, move south. And I helped the coaching company, Proctor, grow from about 100 members to 498. And then I saw the eXp opportunity, and I was planning on retiring from that. It was a 6-figure 9-to-5 Monday through Friday position. I let my real estate license go. I hadn't had a license. I was planning on coaching probably forever. And they made a change. So it made me start looking to get back in real estate, and saw the eXp opportunity. No one called me. I actually called my sponsor. I called him and looked at it, made sense. I saw it right away. Had to go get my real estate license because I hadn't got it. I hadn't had my license. So I had to get my license in Georgia. And now I'm starting all over again at 49 years old. Hadn't sold a house in 9 years. So what I know what to do is grind, man, and work. So just like I worked those 2 jobs for those years, I did the same thing. I called up a friend that had his own independent company in Tennessee. He had about 25 agents, 2 inside sales agents. And I said, hey, I'm leaving the coaching company. Let me be your ISA. I'll help you grow that business out. Pay me a small salary so I could pay my bills until I got my real estate business up and running again. So I went back to work 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday for about 6 months working for him. And on the weekend evening, I was calling real estate agents in my cell phone. I didn't call a stranger for 2 years. Just calling real estate agents, asking them, if they, I'm excited about I used to call it a real estate project. I'm excited about this real estate project I'm working on. Would you take a look at it and tell me what you think? I just want your opinion. And I just did it over and over again. And I was calling Jay Kinder and Al Stasic and those guys with 3-way calls and Zooms, right? That's the process. Intrigue them, watch the video, get them to your upline, get them up to your senior business partners. And I was doing that a bunch. So Jay and Al, Michael Reese actually offered me a position to work for them. He said, why don't you be our ISA and help us get over 40 at that time? They were in their 28, 29, in their FLQA. And they paid me a little bit more income than my friend. Gave him notice. I helped, and it was good for everybody. So I started working for Jay, Al, and Michael, doing the same thing, 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, calling real estate agents to fill their pipeline. And they were getting the leads from like LinkedIn and so forth. And I would, as our ISA, call them, tell them. And it was funny, most people that I talked to didn't know who they were. I mean, 90% didn't know who they were. So that's, I want to share that with you because you don't have to be a big rock star. I just had to share the story of them to make them let people know that they were rock stars. And you can do that with any of your senior business partners. And then I, schedule a call or a Zoom with the guys. With the idea of once I can get my own personal revenue share up and running, then I'd stop working for them and just work for myself. So 6 months with my friend, and then a year with JL and Mike, again, working 9 to 5. And I was only calling my sphere when I could, weekends, evenings, and every chance I got. But within 18 months, I was at 10,000 a month on revenue share. just because I was consistent. And then within 2 years, I was at, I think, 15,000 a month. And that's when I stopped working with Jay and Al as far as getting paid with paycheck. And it was February of what, 18, 19, 21, I guess. February 21, I've been just working on my own. So the thing that I really want to encourage everybody is I'm just a grinder. I mean, I'll outwork anybody. You know, I'm not anything special. I didn't go to college, but I paid for both my sons to go to college, for one for 4, one for 5 years. I'm proud of that. And half of that got paid through revenue share. But my goal is talk to 2 people a day. So when I was working 40 hours a week for the guys, my goal was to call as many people as I had to call, to talk to 2 people, real estate agents, that would agree to either watch a video, which is what I was doing originally. I didn't have time to do a Zoom. I had to do a video because I was working on the clock, right? So I sent the video, or to, you know, get on a Zoom on a weekend or something, or meet face to face. But everyone I knew was across the country. So I was mostly doing videos for the first 2 years. And now I do mostly Zooms. But if you talk to 2 people a day, 5 days a week, you're having 10 conversations a week, of people agreeing to watch, you know, consume the information. And of course, some don't, and you got to follow up and all that. But by Friday, if I didn't have at least 8 to 10 people that I agreed to watch, to consume the information, I worked half a day Saturday to try to get my 10. And I was just consistent for 2 solid years. I mean, unless it was like a holiday or something, I didn't miss trying to get to the 8 to 10 people a week. And that was consistency. And to be honest with you, I look at my wealth chart, I only had 13 people in my first 12 months. It took me, I think, 6 months to bring in 3. And then the next 6 months, you know, the other ones started coming. But I had 13 first level and 37 total. So my first year, I was only 1337, only made $9,000. You know, most people would quit, and most people do quit because they're like, this ain't working. But I saw the guys, Jay and Al's back office, and they were in the company 2 years, 2.5 years when I started working with them, and they were already making 60,000 a month. So I knew it was possible. And I said, even if it takes me 5 years to get to 60,000 a month, I'm okay with that. Right. So I was consistent. By the second year, I had 35 personal and 281 total. So it jumped from 37 total to 281 because of you got this ball rolling. You can't really stop it once you get it over the hill. And by the end of the third year, I was actually 41 personal, which has gone down as you see my numbers because people come and go, but 669 total by year 3. And year 4 was 909. And now we're over the 1,000, but it's the consistency. So, I mean, like $9,000 the first year, where most people would quit. But if you got to have a 5-year goal. That's the key. I had a 5-year goal, was to get to 500 agents. And we got to that in 2.5. And of course, then the next goal was 1,000, and now it's 2,000. But we overestimate what we can do in the first year, but we underestimate what we can do in 2 to 3 to 5 years. So if you know that in the beginning, hey, it might start off slow, but there's people, and you go to these conferences and you see people on stage, you know, there's some great people there, but are they better than you? You know, no, they're not better than any of us. And you know, I look at it as, you know, no one will outwork me. I might not be the smartest or have the background or whatever, but I'll make the phone call. If it was FSBOs, expireds, it didn't matter. When we were selling, you had to make the lead calls. If you didn't make the calls, the pipeline dried up. Right? I could have 3 closings in one day, and that didn't get me excited, or that didn't fulfill me. That was happy. It was great. That was money in the bank, but it was getting my leads done for the day, 10, 20, 50, 100, whatever it was. I had a pipeline of people to call, FSBO expireds, and when you're dealing with the buyers and sellers. And when I got my list done for the day, it didn't matter if I got appointments or not. It just make the phone calls. If you make enough phone calls, you'll get enough appointments, and you get enough appointments, you get enough listings, you hit the goal at the end of the year. And it's the same exact thing with agent attraction. What's your goal? If you spend 10 minutes a day, you're going to get 10 minutes worth of money in the bank from it, right? If you spend an hour a day or talking to people a day, whatever your goal is, just set it, time block it, and do it. And don't let anything get an excuse of it. And if you're just consistent, your pipeline won't dry up. You know, we've been through what, 3-4 different corrections in the market over, 32 years. My business my sales never really went down. When the market crashed, a lot of people got out of business. I just worked harder. I just, I literally still have the calendar in my closet over here. I was working 14 to 6, sometimes 16 hours a day from getting up to going to bed. I mean, and my goal when I got going in real estate, after got coaching and we really started building a team and all that, was to get my hours down. And I tracked how many hours year after year after year, I have all the calendars, and we got the hours down, but income continued going up because we leveraged, systems and people and training and coaching. So the agent attraction deal is the same exact thing as selling houses. If you're making the phone calls to your physicals and expireds, you just make them to agents, and at the end of the day, you'll reach your goals. But by the second year, I went from 99,000. The second year was 90. So at 10x, which is, I was making more money in real estate, but that's still good, right? That now it's like, okay, I can see where this is going. And then my third year was like 235 and 295, and this year will, be better than that. But you're way underpaid in the beginning, just like when you were a real estate agent in the beginning. You're working your crazy butt off, and you're only getting a couple of deals. But over time, when you got good at selling real estate, you got all these referrals, right? And it's kind of the same thing with agent attraction. Not that you are getting better with your scripts, your dialogue, you're more comfortable. The phone's not so heavy that you're willing to pick it up. But what happens is you get a couple of rock stars, like Jeff or, whoever's in your organization, all the rock stars out there. Well, either you're going to attract one or two of those, or one of your people are going to attract one or two of those. Now, I only have 3 big we call them generals, right? People that just take off and grow your business. I have 3 generals. One I personally sponsored. He was one of the first, 50 phone calls probably in the very beginning. Well, I hadn't talked to him in 7-8 years, Pierre from Canada. But he was a colleague that I knew, and I called him, and he had his best year ever in real estate. So, when I first called him, I thought he was still a single agent, maybe had a small little team, because that's what he was when I talked to him 7-8 years ago. But when I called him, he was an independent broker with 13 agents, had his best year ever. But he remembered me, and he was willing to take a look. I said, hey, this is coming to Canada. If you like it or not, you need to know what's coming. And 2 months later, he joined. He shut his independent brokers down. He was doing 225 units, working 80 hours a week himself, personally, 13 agents. 4 years later, he had his 4-year anniversary a few weeks ago. I think they're doing between, it was 500 or 600 units. His team has 40, went from 13 to 40, but his organization is 600. So out of my 1,000, 600 are between him and another guy, Rick, that I put underneath him. So my other general, Rick, I put underneath him, so he's on level 2. And then I got another guy, Gary, who's level 2, which I never really even knew. I brought in a guy that brought in one person, and that one person was Gary Wilson. And Gary's brought in about 130 or 40 on my level 3. So why I share that with you is because you might not feel like calling somebody today. Well, if you don't call them, I will, or somebody else will. And then you're going to see your friend that would have probably listened to you, or someone that knows you a heck of a lot better than me, because 2 years into it now, I'm kind of cold calling because I don't, and some of it because, I ran out of the people that I knew, except the follow-up, the people I'm still following up for the last 4 years. They're going to come into, the smart ones, all the smart ones are coming. You know, we don't want them all. We just want the smart ones that get it, like us, and they're coming. So you got to pick up the phone and call them. And if you don't, somebody else will. And even if that agent, you're saying, I'm a small agent, I only sold 3 houses, who's going to listen to me? One of my leaders, and she's heading to be a general, when she joined eXp, she had not sold a house. She was at another company. She's, I think, about level 3. She hadn't sold a house. She was eXp about a year. She came to eXp, still hadn't sold a house, but she started recruiting people just on Facebook. And she had, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 people before she sold the house. So that's an excuse we make in our head. Well, I'm not good enough. I don't have, it doesn't matter. I mean, there's 100 different bridges, you know, to bridge the gap. You know, you could be a brand new agent and you're saying, you know, hey, I'm reaching out because I've been watching your, you know, your career. I just got into real estate like a year ago, and you're like my idol, man. I see your billboards everywhere. I hear people talk about you in church. I want to grow up to be like you someday. And I was just wondering, man, would you be willing to, you know, take, you know, 15, 20 minutes? I'll buy you lunch. Let's go out to lunch or buy you coffee. I'd love to get your opinion on something. And if they don't even know you're in eXp, you don't have to tell them. You know, they may know, and then you can say, yeah, it's about eXp. But I normally even don't bring up eXp in the first conversation. But it's gonna be, hey, would you be willing to do me a solid and take 15, 20 minutes? Just give me your professional opinion on something and tell me if I'm going over the deep end here and this thing will never work. I really would love your opinion on this, you know, project that I'm looking at right now. You just made their ego go way up. And if they like giving back, they'll do it. Now, if they're snobs or, hey, brush off, okay, well, that's not your avatar and move on. But, you know, a lot of people, especially if they're well known and they like giving, they say, yeah, man, I'll meet with you for 20 minutes to help you out, right? And then there's 100 different other bridges depending on what that relationship was. Jay Kinder gave me a book called GoPro way back when I first started. And there was like 7 or 8 different lead-ins depending on, you know, if the person was your best friend, right, to someone you don't know. And that's where I started, right? And then there's all kinds of with eXp and, you know, all of the people in our organization, we have a lot of people to go to in the training. So, but anyway, long story short is
Good.
just make the phone calls.
Yeah. Well, and you know, there's one word you said over and over, and which is awesome, and I circled it and I highlighted here: consistent. You know, and I think that's so key. You know, because and even for myself, I know that, you know, I'll have these spurts where I'll do it, I'll crank it like daily, whatever, and then distractions come or whatever, or I get lazy or something happens, and the next thing you know, it's like, you know, a week, 2 weeks, you know, whatever. It's like, oh man, I got to get back on the horse, you know, and it's like that consistency, what you mentioned right there, you know, just fighting for the, you know, 10 appointments a week, 10 people that have watched something a week.
And I didn't get all 10 to watch it. I just got 10 to agree to watch it. If you get 10 people to agree, maybe you get 6 to actually watch it. You know, but you get 10 people to agree to either watch it, watch the video is third, face-to-face is best, or Zoom is second, right, for conversions. But if you get them to at least agree, and then it's a follow-up. But if you do that consistently, hey, say if you fall short, you only get 6 a week. Well, 6 times, you know, 50 weeks a year is at 300. You're going to have some people that join, right? And once you can get that ball over the hill, then you can't stop it, right? Now, I was really just real consistent that first 2 years. Now I've slacked off. I mean, I actually just got going just recently again, being consistent of writing down. I was keeping track of everything. You know, how many calls I was making, you know, how many, it was more important how many people I talked to. It didn't really matter how many calls I was making, it was how many people I talked to that agreed to appointment. So I tracked it. And then, yeah, you get some success and get busy and you fall off a little bit. I spend a lot of time now helping my team members and training, coaching and all that. But we still got to build our front line. You know, we still got to build it, and you got to continue being consistent on doing that. And it's not really going to stop, I don't think, maybe when you get to 100, or at least 50 on your front line, you can take a breather because, people come, people go, people die, everything happens. I think when I get to 50, solid, not just 50 solid people, the solid ones, hey, they're selling houses and they're most likely never going to fall off. Then maybe you can let off the gas a little bit. But I think I'm going to keep going to at least 100 on that first level. And it's going to take a while.
Sure.
But the other thing they really keep in mind is when you do have just one person that gets it and goes to work and they might, change their life because of agent attraction, because they built a big organization, or it could change their life because of the health insurance, right? And without that health insurance, something happened to them and they would have went bankrupt because they didn't have health insurance before you called them. And that is what was the life changer. But what drives me every day, especially when the people that hang up on me, the people that are rude to me, the people that, just don't get it. And you're like, you can't understand how they don't get it. They're just not the right fit. They're not the right people, or it's just not the right time. And at first you kind of feel rejected, you got to get over that really quick and say, well, they're not rejecting you. They're just rejecting the opportunity or themselves or whatever it is their deal is. And remember, even if you only have one person, and if you don't have one, get somebody else's story that it's somebody else's life that's changed. But like Pierre, I didn't finish the story. He was working 80 hours a week. Now he's working 30, 35 hours a week. He 5x his net income, not his gross income, he 5x his net income. And he bought a house in Arizona. Actually, he has 3 now, I think. But he bought a house in Arizona to winter in, and he ran his entire team the last 2 years from Arizona to get out of the cold weather in Canada.
That's awesome.
Right?
Yeah.
And at one of the conferences, my wife was there, and him and his wife were there, and she came up to me, and said, man, I got to tell you, I love you. I really love you for calling my husband. I have my husband back. And he had his great year. And he didn't even know he had a challenge working 8 hours a week. He had a great year. Everything was great. But I think it's greater now. He's selling 4 times my houses, net 5x of net income. He plays golf 3 times a week now. And he winters in Arizona. And he bought a $90,000 boat from his stock. And the better story is his son Pat, who actually helped talk him into joining eXp, because he told his father, like, Dad, if you don't do this, this train's is gonna keep on going without us. What's the worst gonna happen? If it don't work, we'll keep our signs, keep them in the garage, right? If it don't work, we can open up our company really fast. But what if this is half as good as it looks like it is, right? And he really helped, to get his dad to move forward. Well, he was 23 at the time, had his best year ever in his 3 years of real estate. He's only 3 years in the business, and he had 21 deals. Pretty good, better than mine for 3 years.
Yeah.
In his next 12 months at eXp, he went to 60 transactions, but he went to eXpCon, he went to Orlando, he got involved in the coaching that we offer, and he got to work. And now I think he'll be close to 100 deals. I think this year he's got an assistant. He got married. He went on a 30-day honeymoon because he could afford it. And the cool thing is, he told me and his dad he's not interested in this agent attracting thing. He just wants to sell houses, and that's all he focused on, was selling houses. But he went from 23 to 60, and then 60 to 100 or whatever. But in that time frame of a couple of years of him doubling his business, 9 people joined his organization. I think 11 now. I did an interview with him in his 4th year review the other day, a couple of weeks ago, and he said he had 11 people on his front line. And at first he thought it was kind of cool when he had a couple, it paid his gas. He's got a big truck, paid his gas. He's cool, happy with that. And then it started paying his truck payment. So he thought that was pretty cool. But he still didn't focus on it. He was just selling houses. He had a bunch of stock. He didn't even know he had the stock. His father had to tell him, hey, go look and see how much stock you had. Because he didn't know. He never even looked at it. And on the interview, he told me it's paying his house payment now. So you think about when you're having those bad days, you don't feel like calling, or they hung up on you, or you don't feel like doing it. Well, whose life are you not going to change because you don't feel like it? And that's the mindset I have every day of reaching out to people, even when I don't want to, because it's not about me anymore. It's about somebody who I'm going to share this with, is going to share it with somebody, who's going to share it with somebody. Maybe the first 3 people, maybe they're part-time, maybe they don't, it doesn't change your life. But there's a ton that it certainly will.
Right. And that's a great point. I mean, just, when we realize what we got our hands on, and I think so many agents, they don't understand it. They don't know how life-changing it can be. I mean, I've been in this business 21 years now, and it's just like there was that point of burnout hit, 10, 11 years ago. And just, I had to figure it out because it was like, oh my goodness. And I think that's like, when I looked at this, I mean, it took me 5, 6 days, and I was just like, I'm in. Like, I didn't have to sit on it for months and months and months. I mean, it just made too much sense to me right away. There will be those people out there that just get it. Jay Nelson, Sean Sturrock showed Jay Nelson, and he'd been at Remax for his entire career, huge in Remax, whatever. And like immediately, like the next day or something, like, was in. Like,
yeah.
There are those people out there, and some will take months and years, and that's fine too. But to plant that seed and just the life change that it can be for people, I know with Jay and Ashley now, when, just again, they've built such a big group, and the money's coming in there, and Ashley with her health issues and stuff. I mean, to have this, there and established now as they're going through life stuff, it's just huge.
And what if Sean didn't call him because he felt
exactly
worried or nervous or whatever? Somebody else probably would have called him, but maybe he went to look at it for that other person, and he could still be at Remax, right?
For sure.
That's what you got to think about. Somebody had a question about onboarding. My first 2 years, I was working full time for somebody else and working part time as for myself. I onboarded my first couple of hundred people. I think I had almost 200 people by the time I finally hired a virtual assistant and trained the virtual assistant to do it. And now it's my wife actually left her position, what she was doing as working at an attorney's office, and now she's my concierge person, and she onboards everybody. But I onboarded everyone myself at first. We built out a Trello system, and just with a big long checklist. And you gotta hold your people's hand, right? It's hard to get them over, and when you get them over, you gotta take care of them, right? So you gotta be onboarding them and helping them over and above what the company does, is my opinion. And we try to do a pretty good job of that.
For sure. Can I ask you real quick, and then I know Kelly's got some questions, we'll let her go. Has your script changed much in terms of like today versus what it was 5 years ago? I mean, when I got into eXp, I'd call them and, I'd say real estate project, or I've seen different things. I want you to look at that kind of stuff. Like now, the fact that, everybody's, anybody that's in real estate at all, pretty much, they've heard of eXp. The word is out now as far as that goes. So I'm very upfront with my, when I call people, like they know that I'm calling about eXp, like within the first, minute of the call. And I just, ask like, hey, have you ever actually sat down and really evaluated it for yourself? Have you ever had it personalized for your business, for your numbers? Has anybody ever done that with you? And the answer, 9 out of 10 times is no. Has your script changed much?
Yeah, it has. I mean, before I'd call anybody and everybody that would, listen. Now I'm really trying to focus on icon agents, or agents doing 25 or 30 more deals a year. So when the market drops, they're still capping,
Yeah.
It's changed some, but it's like you said, I mean, the first is just getting some kind of rapport going. So, they are comfortable talking to you, especially if you're talking to a stranger. And then, tell them real quickly a little bit about my background, so they know that, I've been doing this for 30 some years, and get some rapport going. And then, share with, about my business partners. If I'm talking to a KW person, I'll tell them about, like Gary Wilson was at KW, right? So he's one of my people. Or you can use someone else's story, right? Like Tom Daves, he's in eXp. He's not in my group, but he's in EXP and he was a top KW for 7 years in a row, right? Don Yoakum built what 10 KW offices from scratch to 2,000 agents. He's one of our eXp partners, right? So you can use anybody. If they're a Coldwell Banker, Jay Kinder was number 2 in Coldwell Banker, selling 530 homes a year, right? So I can say my partners and I have done, these things. And not long ago, what's interesting is, we changed over to a company, called eXp. I'm sure you've heard of them by now, right? And of course, like, yeah, I've heard about them. And you can tell in their voice if it's good or if it's bad or whatever. So yeah, I know. I got a lot of calls like this too. We kind of poo-pooed it. We kind of, didn't put any, and we weren't interested in looking at anything. But someone did, lovingly challenged us to put our ego aside and to just put our business hats on, to really look at the model, because it was changing real estate agents' lives. So we did. And long story short, once we saw it, we couldn't unsee it. And it's actually has been life changing. And it's different for everyone, right? For me, it's because the referrals, I'm getting 10 to 25 referrals a month on deals that I'm not even touching. I'm not showing the paperwork, doing the paperwork. I'm not showing the houses, but I'm getting paid on these referrals. Of course, it's revenue share, but they don't know what that is. So I just say referrals. From another partner, it's because of the health insurance, and he's saving $8,000, $10,000 a year on his health insurance. For someone who was X. So you tell them 2 or 3 quick little stories, so it gets them to say, okay, and then ask them, so have you really sat down and did the math and found out, especially if they're an icon agent, someone like yourself, or if they say, yeah, I've sat down, I've seen it, but really, how long ago was that? 6 months, a year ago. All right, well, there has been some pretty amazing changes in the last even 3 months. So you might want to, be open to taking a look at it again. But let me ask you, when that friend of yours sat you down 6 months ago, did he go over the math and numbers with you to show you how you'd be earning over 100% broking your deals here? And they're like, no. And they would be earning over 100%. If they're an icon agent, for sure, right?
Yeah.
They're going to be getting paid over 100% because they got the stocks and everything else. And most of them are like, well, no, how does that work? And well, I only asked for a couple of minutes on the phone. That's a deeper conversation. We got to jump on a Zoom so I can kind of share more with you. But I would love to do the math. Let me ask you this, Kelly, does it make sense? You stay where you're at. You stay at KW forever. I'm never going to ask you to make a move. We'll take coming over eXp off the table, okay? But do you consider yourself a learner? You like to learn new things? And
absolutely.
I've only had one person say no. I mean, everyone says yes to that question. Well, let's do this. You stay where you're at. No expectations of making a move, but let's jump on a Zoom, 15, 20-minute Zoom. Come with a pad and a paper and your entrepreneurial business hat on, and just come to learn what we're doing and why we're the fastest growing company on the globe, and why so many big teams and top producers like yourself are coming over. Just so you know, let me give you a backup offer, Kelly. $50,000 over asking price, no contingencies, no inspections, close whenever you want to, backup offer. So you can have in your back pocket. Even if it's on your desk collecting dust, that's okay. It's still going to be looking at you. And if anything ever changed, doesn't it make sense? Wouldn't you want to have a backup offer before you actually need one?
That's a great line right there.
Let
me give you a backup offer.
Love that.
Yeah, and in the way the market's been, and how it was anyway, everyone would have crazy full price backup offers, right? So it all relates, and most people will say yes to that. Now you still got to get them to the Zoom, and some people don't make it because they're cool. The other thing is you got to get them to that Zoom as fast as you can. It's like, hey, I got a little bit of time, like later this afternoon or maybe tomorrow. When's good for you? And try to do it as fast as you can, because the longer it goes, the less they forgot about all that great stuff that you just said to get them to agree.
Sure.
Another little trick too is at the end, then, hey, can you do me a favor, Kelly? Is there anything that would stop you, from making our appointment new? And I'll tell you, I'm going to block it off my schedule. I'm going to send you a calendar invite. I'm going to block it off. My schedule gets pretty full. But I value you and your time, and I'm not going to let anything get that time and take that away from you. Can I ask you to do the same? And, you know, you try to get them to commit. Yes, I'm going to make that appointment, and get them to even say it, that they'll give me your, well, thank you. I honor your word, you know. That helps a little bit from keeping that appointment.
For sure. That's good. Kelly, go ahead. I know you had some great questions there. Go ahead and ask.
I have
some
a
of your
bunch, but
questions.
let me keep going on this one. Now you get them on the Zoom. Just give me a brief on your Zoom.
Oh, I'll just thank them for taking the time today. Clear the time. Hey, I know we scheduled about 30 minutes. Is that still good? Make sure they don't tell you only got 7, you know, or whatever. And then try to get a little bit more rapport, depending on how much rapport I got before. But I'll normally say, hey, real quick, I want to tell you a little bit more about myself. I want to get to know you better, for at the very least for referrals, right? So we can give each other referrals, so you can feel comfortable giving me referrals and so forth. And I'll tell them a little bit more about my real estate background, but my personal background, you know, depending on who I'm talking to. But I'll tell them, you know, my wife and I have been married for, 31 years. We're high school sweethearts, whatever. And you get 2 boys, give them their names or ages, and whatever you give them, they'll normally give back to you. Some people won't, the high D's, they're trying to hurry things up, but you give them some personal stuff about you, so you can find out, about them. What are their kids' names? How old they are? Do they have grandkids? That kind of stuff, because family's going to be pretty important to them. And tell them, say, hey, I'm going to share some information with you. It's been life-changing for me. Like I said, I'm going to show you a video. I could explain it, but it'll be an hour, because I'll go off on a rabbit trail, on all these other things. So it's just going to be faster for both of us. I'm just going to share this video with you. And you can stop me, if you have questions, and I'll just ask you, I'll just answer them at the end. Okay. I'm going to put my phone on airplane mode here real quick, so we're not distracted. This is a big deal, and I'm going to give you, my full attention. And if you do the same, that'd be great. And then start the video. And I show them the Brent Go video, usually the model explain. And then, at the end, just say, great. I know, just tell me, what did you like best about what you just saw? And that's it. They'll tell you what they liked. You can elaborate a little bit on that, and they might, if they're interested, they'll have some questions, right? And you might answer 1 or 2, but don't answer too many, because the next step is getting them to your senior business partner. Hey, that's a great question, Kelly. I mean, I know we only allotted, 30 minutes. We're already over a little bit. I'm sure you got to run as well, but let's schedule another quick Zoom with my business partner, so-and-so, because of X. And you edify your business partner, tell them why they need to talk to them, and relate it to their question. And a matter of fact, he's super busy, but he's my business partner, and I have his calendar right here in my phone. So let me just pull him up real quick. Looks like, he could do today for really quick, 10, 15 minutes at 4, or tomorrow would be better. And as fast as you can, again, get him on a 3-way or Zoom. And then I'll send him information, I'll send him a link to my, one of my websites or whatever, for them to gather more information. Some of them look at it, some of them don't. But the faster you can get them to the 3-way, the better. That's where I've challenged, because I'll send people will say, hey, it looks good. I'm intrigued. I'm not looking to make a move, but you have definitely intrigued me, right? But then they get busy, they get off the phone, they're busy with life and work. And they'll say, let me do my due diligence. I want to look at some stuff. And I'll say, yeah, great. I mean, I can send you 1 video. I can send you 4. I mean, how much information do you want? Try to feel for what they want. The D's, want one thing to look at, the CNSs want everything. So kind of send them some info, but more importantly, try to get them on a Zoom with your upline as fast as you can, so they can see how this process works.
And then after that, you got them on the Zoom. You've done the 3-way call with somebody. They still haven't made the decision. What kind of follow-up do you have after that?
Yeah, it just depends on them and how interested they are. But you continue getting them on with other people in your senior business partners or sidelines or whoever, right? You start having relationships with all kinds of people at eXp. You say, you got to meet so-and-so, and you try to get on them another call. if it is, well, if their objection or the thing that they're nervous about is my broker, you know, I love my broker. I can pick up the phone and call them. So let me share with you how easy and fast it is. You know, in Florida, we got like 12 brokers. I can show you. I mean, if you have time right now, I can jump on we're on a Zoom. I can jump on in the world and we can be talking to a broker in 5 minutes if you'd like to see how easy it is. Or if they don't have time right now, let's schedule it. I'll do a quick Zoom with you, and we'll go into our metaverse and show you how I can get to my broker probably faster than you get to yours without leaving my house.
Okay. So it's just continual follow-up, continually getting them in
And then
front.
getting them to, if you can get them to a live event, obviously eXp Con, so forth, any live event, invite to training, any of the production training you guys are doing, invite them to the production training, get them on your Facebook page so they can kind of see stuff that you're doing. And you just, you follow up with them as fast as you can without pushing them away. If you do too much, you're gonna say, oh my God, this guy's relentless, so you got to go at their speed. And I tell you, a lot of people just fall off. I've had people ready to join, man, and then they disappear. They're like, you think they got, killed in a car accident, they just fall off the face of the earth. But they're still watching you. And you find out later when you finally get to them 6 months later, their mom passed away, or whatever happened. And
Right.
You just got to keep following up until they join, until they die, or until you don't want to work with them because they are rude or whatever, and you don't want to deal with them anymore. But just because they say no, even after they watch the video, I've had people that have watched the video 3 years ago, met with them, showed it to them, thanks, not interested, that I forgot about. Said, okay, they don't get it. Next. And I didn't follow up with them. And then I see him at eXp Con 3 years later with somebody else. It's like, what the heck happened? And that's happened more times I would like to admit. So now I follow up, and no matter if they aren't interested, you don't follow up about eXp, you follow about, hey, I just saw this was a great training I was on. I thought it'd be beneficial to you. I thought I'd send it to you. Have a good day. And just keep sending them stuff and inviting them to stuff. And eventually, they're one called me a few weeks back, hadn't talked to them forever, but they just got a phone with their accountant, and their accountant showed them that they paid $60,000 to their company and they don't really need the brand anymore. And they're like, what am I doing? And then I just happened to, call again to remind, to send them something, and they're like, yeah, let's talk. So you don't know when they're going to be ready. You just got to keep being in front of them.
Now you've answered most of my questions. Let me target, I think, 2 more here. So once you get through your warm market, you're moving on to cold market. You said you go after icon agents. How do you get your list of folks to call?
There's 2 million agents in Canada and US, right? So anywhere from Zillow, Realtor.com, HomeSnap, billboard signs. I mean, real estate agents are everywhere, right? I'll get my VA to look for agents. I'll say, hey, go find. I want to focus on this city. Just find me agents in that city that are doing, 20 to 25 deals or more. So I don't want to call brand new agents. I don't have time for all that anymore. And that's
Gotcha.
it. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. And then Canada. I have a lot of connections in Canada. Where can I best go find out the differences between Canada and US eXp?
The differences of the platform, is that what you mean?
Yeah, I don't know. Splits and caps are different. I don't know.
Yeah, okay.
Fees are different, all
Go
those
into
things.
expenterprise.com, go to the Explore guide, click on that, click on number 8, which is the agent attraction button, and the Canadian PowerPoint's right there.
Perfect. Thank you.
There's not much difference. It's just a few differences.
Gotcha. And Kathy, it looks like you had some questions. Oh, wait, I have one more before Kathy goes. Coaching. Who do you use, or do you use anyone for coaching on agent attraction?
Yeah, well, it's cool. Me and 4 or 5 other guys and girls were getting on a Zoom for about a year ago and be consistent 1 hour a day, every day. We got on a Zoom together and made phone calls. We just we could see each other just like we can see us now. We talked about our wins for 5 minutes and then we just dialed. And then we did that for quite a while. And at the end, or in the middle, we would be high-fiving and say, hey, just got an icon agent, just got a broker, just did this. So we're encouraging each other. Well, that ended up turning into a whole coaching program. It was me, Randy Bird, Matthew Stewart, Jeff Sutherland. We're getting
Dan Hillsman, part of that. Is that the one? Dan Hillsman.
Dan Hillsman, yeah.
Yeah.
The guy from California is going to be a coach. He's a luxury guy. Pete Middleton, he's going to be a coach. So anyway, we started a whole coaching program called Attract Boss, www.attractboss.com. And we just started about 2 months ago. The first month was all absolutely free. It was basically to get our FLAs to be FLQAs and to help them, start building their agent attraction business. And so the first 3 weeks it was free. And you can actually go to Attract Boss in Workplace. There's the open one, and then after 3 weeks, now it's a paid version, but they're only charging $197 a month. The whole idea was, how low can we do it where it's paying expenses, because Randy's got websites and VAs and other things to pay for. But the idea is, if we help you get one agent, just one capper, it pays for it for the entire year.
Exactly.
So that's turned into 2 hours. So Monday through Friday for 2 hours from 11 to 1. Like today, I'm as soon as I get off this, I'm getting on that because I'm missing the first hour to be on here with you guys. But what we do now is there's 6 coaches, 6 or 7 of us all making phone calls. And as soon as we get a live call, we're broadcasting it so everyone can listen. And all the members are listening to the call, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And you listen for a week or so, and that's how all the scripts that I've gotten, what I just kind of shared with you today is all from listening to most of those guys, to be honest with you. And then, so that you listen for the first week or so, but after that, when they're making their notes, after they hang up, then they're kind of putting their notes in and kind of sharing. And if there's nobody else that got a live call yet, the coach is kind of telling you their process. Everyone's got a little bit different process, but while they're doing that, you're making a phone call. And we've gotten some brand new agents that just got started in the last few weeks that have already made appointments and already got people that have joined because they've taken action. And that's it. They've taken action because they're hearing other new agents and other people that just started that took action and made their first couple of calls, and now they're getting progress. One lady made 8 appointments, I think in 1 day. So that's better than I've ever done. I haven't done 8 appointments in 1 day. So that's what we're doing now, and we're trying to get our downline to participate. If you guys are interested, go to attractboss.com. It'll ask you who your sponsor is, and then it'll ask you who invited you. You can just put my name, Andre Lafountain, who invited you, and then you'll go on a wait list. And then we just kind of check everybody because we want most people will get in, but I'll approve you basically, and then you'll be able to join in. And there's no commitment. There's no long-term commitment. And if you pay in full for the year, you get like 3 months off. But it's more to it than just that. I mean, we have an actual coaching call, not live dials. It's this coaching call every Monday at 1:30, from 1:30 to 2:30 Eastern. And then there's a whole lot of other stuff that we're doing. Like one of the first things we're training people is, besides making your list, obviously is the first one, is what's your 30-second, your 30-second elevator speech. If someone says, hey, I'm interested in eXp, or I'm interested in real estate, what do you say? What's your 30-second story? So that was the homework for everyone. Hey, get your 30-second story together and video yourself and put it on the workplace Attract Boss page. And we're getting our agents. So it's the little steps. It's all those little steps to get people moving forward. And we just started a couple of weeks ago. So we're excited about what that's going to do to our group.
That's a great idea. I mean, even for some people on here, just pick 4 or 5 people that you got connections with, and even to have like that accountability in 30 minutes or an hour, if you can do an hour, like just to get on Zoom and make calls together and hold each other to that, you know, like even that right there is a great idea. But then to take it to this level, what you're doing, attractboss.com.
Yeah, cool. Attractboss.com. Check it out. It's been really cool. I mean, I think it's going to help me get to the next level. Like I don't have like Randy, he's got drip campaigns for his hot, cold, and warm leads. I don't have any drip campaigns really. I just follow up. I just grind it out and make the phone calls. But that's some of the things that they're going to be teaching on in KV Core and on a couple other CRM systems that are out there. Right. But I'm going to get my VA to copy his drip campaigns and put it into KV Core. And I'm getting everything from Randy, who was a coach with Tom Ferry for 10 years or whatever. You know, he's got close to 1,000 people as well. So everyone, all the coaches, that's why Randy, we kind of picked who we thought would be good for this group. We're going to have maybe 10 coaches all together, but someone that brings something different to the table that they can bring to the group, because we all do things a little bit differently, right?
For sure.
So is the coaching around the agent attraction or production or both?
100%. This is 100% agent attraction.
Okay, perfect.
Really good. One thing real quick, guys, and just so everybody knows this, eXp Con's coming up in a little over a month, October 2nd to the 5th. For us at Freedom Team, all the founders are going to be there. And we have a suite available to us for the Tuesday night. We're going to do a get together on Tuesday night, just hang out time, whatever. We'll just have some fun up there in the suite there at Mandalay Bay. So we do have that set aside. Andre, real quick, just to wrap it up, for those on here that maybe haven't bought a ticket or they're not thinking about going, whatever, what would you say? Like, why is it important to be at these big events?
My business continues to go up because of going to these events. You get re-energized yourself. And you bring your friends with you. You get your anyone on your team to come with you. It gets them energized again. And what happens is they're seeing these people up on stage that don't look any smarter than they are. I mean, we all can't be like Brent, right? But there's other people they're going to meet and they're going to hear these stories. And it's the stories that they're going to hear from other people. They're like, oh my God, that guy's making $50,000 a month. It doesn't look like he can tie his shoes, man. How can he be it and I can't do it? Well, you can do it. He was just more consistent, or he did whatever. He was consistent about going, right? You'll also get friends with people. I just remember Vincent Koo. I met him because he's from New York. I'm originally from New York. We met a Starbucks line. I didn't know who the guy was, and we're just talking, have the conversation, found out he used to have his own exit realty franchises. He had 3 of them with about 100 agents at each. We had a good conversation in the Starbucks line. And then, hey, what, you want to go out to lunch or dinner? Yeah, let's go out to dinner with your team. Met his wife, met my wife, became friends. And now when I have an exit realty broker, who do I call? Vincent. And he's done 2 or 3 with me already. And he's not in my downline or upline or sideline. He's just, he's a guy at eXp, right? Well, if I didn't go to that event, I would have never met him. So the whole purpose of going to the event is meet as many people as you possibly can, and some relationships, right? And then bring somebody with you. If you can bring somebody with you, like that's not in eXp, if they're not in eXp yet, that we have an Explorer Pass, right? That if you buy your ticket to eXp Con, you get a free ticket to bring a real estate agent that's not in eXp with you for free. They did that in Orlando as well. So, and I'm not gonna say it's easy. I'll invite 30 to 50 people every darn conference to get 1 or 2 to come with you. It's crazy. I mean, why don't they want a free trip? But it's just life. But you try to get somebody to go with you, because chances are they get in the atmosphere, they're going to join as well. So I've only missed one eXp con ever, and I already had my ticket, I already had my airline, I had everything paid for. But Hurricane Ian came through and demolished the house that we were renting when we first moved to Florida, and I was literally homeless, putting everything into storage, trying to find a house for my wife. Even said, "Just go. Your team's there. Just go. I'll figure it out." It's like I can't do that to you. That's the only eXp con that we've missed.
Good reason to miss.
Somebody
Yeah,
asked, what's the website again? I put it in the chat, attractboss.com.
there you go. Well, Andre, thank you so much, man. I mean, just, so many nuggets, just so many lines. Do you consider yourself a learner? My partners and I made note of that, just my partners and I, everybody on here, whether you're brand new to eXp or whether you've had your license for a week, you're my partners and I. You can use that line and, establish some credibility just right off the bat with it, so there's so many ways to make this work, but really great stuff. I know you're a busy guy. We appreciate you, even missing an hour of your coaching that you're doing, to be on here with us, seriously, because you don't benefit at all from anybody in this group. I mean, we're not connected in that sense, but we are connected because of just the one big fire of eXp, which is awesome about this company.
Yeah, just keep giving and giving and giving as much as you can, and the good Lord is just going to give it back to you tenfold. So,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we're here.
100%.
Help,
so
happy to help you guys any way we can. I'll see you at eXp Con, and we're already getting there, but we'll be the biggest, independent real estate company in the globe.
100%.
And if you make the phone calls to your friends, the last thing I'll say is, what is stopping you from making phone calls? The rejection or whatever. Think about what's going to happen when you see one of your best friends that you should have called, and you've talked a lot, but you haven't talked about eXp because you didn't want to, you felt weird about it or whatever. And you see that friend at an event and they come over to you and say, "Kathy, I thought we were friends. We've met 50 times in the last 3 years. You never once told me how awesome eXp was, but this complete stranger called me, got me to look at his video, and spent a lot of time with me to look at this thing. Oh my God. I mean, this is incredible. I thought we were friends. What the hell?"
Yeah.
Right? What are you going to say to that person? "Well, I didn't want to ruin I felt weird." You felt weird about helping changing my life? Are you kidding me? Right? And that's what you got to think about. And because you're thinking, well, I'm afraid I don't want to, I don't want the rejection or whatever. Yeah. The way I look at it is, I'm spending my time and my energy where I could be doing something else. I could be doing something a lot more fun than calling you, even if it's cold call. But yes, I'm selfish and want to grow my business for sure for my family. But I know if you get this and you get plugged in, it's literally can change your life. So am I willing to put my ego aside and add some time and invest into somebody, even a complete stranger, that can literally change their life and their kids and their grandkids' lives, right? And so you can think about it that if you don't do it, then you're selfish. You're selfish that you're not doing it because you're fearing your rejection, a little bit of rejection from a stranger. Who cares? I had somebody say to me, you should be ashamed of yourself for calling me, talk to me about eXp. This is ridiculous. That's one of the worst, right? I can remember. She don't get it, right? And that's okay. I just remember how Pierre's wife told me that she loved me literally because I got her husband's back, and how her son, they just got pregnant. They're just recently. How awesome is their family's life going to be, because even grandpa's not working 80 hours a week anymore, and whatever, right? Those are the things you got to remember. And that's
Well,
what
and that's the stuff we
do.
talk about a lot, is this, stories tell, facts tell, right? So it's
Yeah.
about the stories, it's about the things that people can relate to, and there's so many of those great stories that we, know through eXp, and just to your point, how it has changed so many lives.
And I'll
Yeah,
say
it's
too, I
not-
think those harsh calls like that one, like how dare you call me, I find those. I mean, honestly, for me at least, it's probably 1 out of 20. I mean, it's so.
it's less than that. I mean, somebody
it's
that
so
rude is
rare.
like,
Yeah,
it's like
I mean,
1 out of 50 or 1 out of 100.
Yeah.
maybe so.
Yeah.
It's so
Yeah,
rare that it happens.
yeah, that's but those are the ones that will like stop you from calling anymore,
right.
because they made you feel like when she said that to me and she hung up, I'm like, at first you're like, I get mad. Are you kidding me? But you just got to shake it off. Think about somebody that you had changed your life, and don't dwell on it, and just move on. It's like, I feel bad for her, not for me. I don't feel bad for me. My last 3 months worth of revenue share, I just counted up the other day, it was $122,512.02 for the last 3 months. So
Pretty good. It's a good
and,
summer.
and that's nothing compared to our business partners that have made 3 times that in 1 month, right?
Yeah.
But
the difference is, like, you can make that selling real estate, but you're working, 60, 80 hours a week, kind of what you said earlier. The difference
sure.
is you're making that and you're working quote unquote part-time, right? There's a huge difference, because in real estate, we can make 100 grand in 3 months.
yeah, and if I stop
it's
and if
selling,
something happens to me and I get sick or I want to go on vacation or something happens and I'm not making one phone call for 3 months, unless my FLQA drops down, I'm not gonna lose. The income's gonna continue coming in.
Yeah.
And if any real estate agent stops working for 3 months, their pipeline dries up. And
zero.
When a hurricane came through, I didn't work for 6 weeks trying to figure things out and move again. And
the income was there to cover you.
Yeah, so we weren't stressed about any income because it was coming in no matter what.
For sure. One thing, guys, I'll just to wrap this up, just a reminder, we're coming into the moving season as far as agents. October, November, December are really the 3 biggest months of the year every year. Summer's over. The big agents now they're slowing down a little bit, even though business was down for everybody this year. It's that time of year. There's a lot of people they're going to be more open to looking and more open to making a move in the next 3 months coming up here than they've been all year long. And it just happens every year. And I think this year is going to be exceptional for that because of the market. So I would tell you, be working on your list of people, be working on that, start making those calls. You're going to be able to set some appointments, and really everybody on here could really, truly explode their agent attraction revenue share group, in the next, 3 to 4 months by the end of this year. I just think that it's going to be a big, big season for moves because of what we've been through with this economy and the market and everything else. So it's always big. This year, I think is going to be bigger because of all that. So would you agree with that, Andre? I just think we're coming into that season.
Yeah, 100%. People are going to be more open because their income went down, and they're more open than they were when they're super busy and things are great. The people that are not visionaries, they don't see it. They're just comfortable, but they're going to be more open to taking a look at it now because their income has dropped, and geez, they still got to pay the bills. Yeah. And if you connected with them before and they kind of see your story, or other people's story, or they heard about eXp and other people's stories, oh, maybe I should at least be open-minded to take a look. So yeah, it's just a consistency. You just don't stop.
For sure. No, great stuff. Well, Andre, thank you very much. We appreciate it, guys. This recording will be up on the workplace group, later today. Just a reminder that tomorrow morning, and you can invite guests. Remember, these Tuesdays are always open to everybody. And that's just a great tool to, not only just add value to them without talking eXp. So tomorrow, Drew Schrader, we're going to be talking about, really maximizing your database. Again, number 2 agent in all of Indianapolis, not just eXp, but all of Indianapolis. He's the one going to be leading us tomorrow. Thursday, we'll be on here with just a Q&A for agent attraction. So bring your questions. Come join us then. Okay. So guys, thank you very much. Have a great day. Andre.
Thanks, everyone.
Take care. We'll see you in Vegas.
Okay?
Yep. You got it, man. Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.